of throwing the vanguard party alone into the battle without the support of the class as a whole. Sekuyayiphunyekelwa manje even ne-radical economic transformation le nobani esibezwa bekhuluma kakhulu yilezi zakithi ezimnyama ezihonxe zifuna ukuyishape in their own image. We can't allow that. The working class needs to shape the economic trajectory now going forward. Comrades, I want to remind you, iparty engifike ngisho njalo yinini enanisekhanda lokukhulula lelizwe. You were at the head of the 1994 democratic breakthrough. If we see transcribe Oliver Tambo, iparty wants to say to you, guard this precious 1994 democratic breakthrough. Akekho umuntu oyidefender and be able to deepen it unless the working class is at the head. We are not saying ukuthi ongqoba bakithi abamnyama asiba-alienate, but they can't, they are not capable of leading a revolution. A revolution can only be led by yourselves. And I'm happy I'm speaking here in Gauteng because that's the heart of working class. And in Kulumanani, not as ordinary workers, but as shop stewards. Hey, I wish Comrade Joe could adopt a slogan. A good Kosato shop steward must be in the SACP. Because we are the most important layer of organized workers. That's very important. Now, part of the current developments have led to both our formations reaching this difficult decision. It was not an easy decision to say the president must step down because of some of the problems this is born out. But comrades, then I want to warn though, on behalf of the SACP, we must then not make a mistake because we have made that call into then starting an anti-Zuma campaign. We'll be making a mistake. Because we may deal with the symptom and not the fundamental problem. Rather, we should be focusing on working class mobilization to drive what unites us as the Alliance, a second, more radical phase of our democratic revolution. That's where we should be focusing. Even this idea of radical economic transformation, we must subject it to this, driving a second phase of the democratic revolution. And what are some of the key issues we need to look into? Without militant working class actions, we won't defeat monopoly capital and the parasitic networks. We are khona baye bathi ku-SACP nakhala kangaka ngamagupta nithuleleni nge-monopoly capital. Ingoba into ehambisanayo lezi. Asithule, we are not quiet about monopoly capital. We have been waging a campaign about banks. We didn't start it just because one company's accounts have been closed. We started it year 2000. It's because if we allow our behavior, it weakens our capacity to fight monopoly capital. Now, what must be done? SACP said I must focus on that. Into enhleke siyahlangana neCOSATU ama-office bearers on Monday to share perspectives, but with a view, hopefully, to come up with a program of action. Athi amakomanisi awevefisa engathi singake sisebenzele towards a general strike ukusho ukuthi usibike sekhona sabasebenzi balelizwe. Around some of these things we are going to mention. Firstly, comrades, we need to revitalize political education and political discussion. I want to suggest to Comrade Joe, Comrade Udumsan, let Gauteng lead this debate and play your leading role. What do we mean by a second, more radical phase of our transition? I guess spend a class around this. We say the first phase of the democratic revolution was largely about abolition of the legal instruments of white minority rule. Sasibulaula izakhiwo ze-apartheid from 1994. And we drafted a new progressive constitution. We regularized our elections. But it is wrong to think Uguti, all the tasks of the first phase are finished. What we are saying now is that we cannot be able to consolidate these gains we have made during the first phase if we don't move on to a second phase that must primarily prioritize a changing economy. Comrade Chris Malikan uthi no iphelile first phase manje, we must focus on the second phase. No, the second phase is aimed at consolidating the gains of the first phase, and then we focus on the economic trajectory. But assembly is over a debate now. We are going to debate him at an appropriate time. Now, but there are other issues, by the way, that we also need to debate as the axis here, SACP and COSATU. We need to reopen the issue of our electoral system, no Balawe ANC account. The electoral system here because it's proportional. Yenza nomuntu othola ivote elincane ameleleke eParliament. But ingozi ngoba inika ama-political parties too much power. Yeah, uyabona noma ugrab i-political party yakho yi-faction, uza ne-list yama-MPs which is factional. That's a danger and a threat. That is why we must reopen the debate whether we do not need a mixed system, which whilst proportional will also have MPs directly elected by communities and constituencies. We must reopen that debate, and judging from the lessons that we have learned over the past 23 years, I'm not taking a side. Sizoyithapisha thina kwi-Congress ye-Communist Party this matter. Uthi cha kulungile siya-understand but nje ama-MPs singabe sisawazi nje ekuthi siwakhethe direct njengoba kwenzeka ku-local government kumixile councillor lakho uyalazi nje olukhethe wena directly with-constituents. Now, here is another task. We want to declare as the SACP, we support COSATU's call for a job summit and to relaunch a jobs campaign. But please, Comrade Beg, don't take that debate to Netland before 7 a.m. to internal a job summit so that we know when we go to Netland what we are actually going to say. And you know, comrades, there are a few things that we could be doing that we are not doing. For instance, the SACP, we are raising this matter. All road maintenance in South Africa must be insourced back to municipalities. It can't be a 10-kilometer road somewhere in the rural areas gets given out as a tender to benefit one person who is then going to be employing workers and paying them poorly. No, let that maintenance be done by workers who are employed by our municipality. Minister awusebemsusile uThulasi. Ngesikhathi kwa-Public Works uThulasi uthi this thing can generate between 800,000 and 1 million jobs. Just the issue ye-road maintenance. The other task, comrades, esicela ukuyinika ikhosathu, niyilide niyi-federation, I need to reach out to other potentially progressive federations. NACT, for instance, and create a common platform on matters that are affecting workers irrespective of the federations they are in, and launch serious campaigns. Serious campaigns. The period requires that. We want one federation in the country ultimately, but let's build it through action. Let's not say we are going to unite before we take action. We are different, but here are the issues that unite us. The country needs that. You are at the head as workers of liberating this country. Please protect our revolution. As the SACP, we are saying also, let's revitalize worker community solidarity. It can't be that you can have an endless strike in a sect, the community state is not supporting workers legitimately. Let's go back to that practice of the 80s. We have got branches of the SACP in the communities. We are there, we will mobilize them to support your legitimate workplace struggles. I peel the access through very concrete things. The other thing, comrades, I'm very glad you are marching to APS and to Treasure, because this is part of revitalizing the SACP-led financial sector campaign. Very important. I'm not going to say much, except this. Webasebenzi akanisondeleni kule imali zenu zepension nama-provident fund nganza kwethu. Move closer to your own pension and provident funds. How are they invested? To benefit who? Public sector unions, go closer to EPIC, which has got 1.8 trillion rands of the government employees' pension fund. Large. It's very serious, but also in the private sector. And you have a provident fund here, investor benefiting whom? We are not saying these provident funds must not make money so that when workers retire they've got something. But they can make possibly a wider impact if invested smartly. My guess is that imali eningi yokwakha ama-malls. Akomsebenze thina create ama-malls. And asikho isitolo sakaNzimande ungaya kuwo wonke ama-malls lawa ngeke usithole. You won't find a shop owned by Nzimande. SakwaNzimande nami intwanyana yami nje encane ngingenisela imali lutho. It's the same shops everywhere. And yet enye into yenziwa yilama malls abulala izitolo zethu lezi zasemalokishini nama-spaza shops. We had a good discussion in Sakau on this matter. That's all I want to say on the financial sector. We want to congratulate COSATU, by the way, on the national minimum wage. It was your struggle, comrades. The 3,500 that you have decided upon, we know it's not enough to live on. But more than 60% of South Africa's workers earn below that. So it's an advance, but it's not the destination. Build on this so that we arrive at our destination. These are issues that affect workers across the board that we should actually be taking up. The land question. People tend to think that the land question is a rural issue only. Makhulunywa ngomhlaba abantu bacabanga ukulima nasemakhaya. Balekile lokho. But the land question in Gauteng is not a rural question, for instance. It's an urban question. One campaign that the Communist Party has taken up, Ileama evictions through bank repossessions of houses. And it affects many workers. And you can say, party, at the height of our financial sector campaign, we had said one of the things we should be campaigning for. Why is it if you buy a car, got 300,000 rand, you finish paying for it in 5 years, but in you got 300,000 rand, you pay for it for 20 years? Why are we not waging a struggle about this matter? Especially for working class families that, no, we must not pay for our houses for 20 years. Ngonyaka ka-13, the breadwinner passes away umsebenzi. Iyadliwa indlu. Kanti sewuyikhokhele for 13 years. Iyadliwa, awutholi lutho. Instead, they go and sell it for 100 rand kwi-auction and still say you owe, yet the house is going to be sold again for something very serious. Towards the end, comrades, here is something I'm requesting. Please come closer to higher education, Makaba. The struggle for free higher education for the poor and the working class must be led by the working class. We are not saying that students do not have a role. Students have got a very important role to play. But without the effective participation of the working class, we will never win that. By the way, we are very clear that we are not calling for free higher education for all. That may sound like a progressive slogan, it's reactionary actually. Because if it means we are robbing the working class to actually pay the rich. Yes, we must now ensure that the working class gets meaningfully covered by UNESPAS, which is not happening at the moment, but lead that struggle. Now, open now. Okay, we are sitting here in front of the Siliden the struggle say in sourcing. Can't be every Tom, Dick and Harry or leader is struggle say in sourcing in higher education institutions. Lead it. Msana kuvumela uEFF abangazilutho ngomzabalazo wabasebenzi abaqala ukugqoka ingubo ezibomvu ngoba sebeku EFF babengawufuna umbala obomvu bese ku ANC. Nawa kamaphuzu amathathu nje kafishana ukugcina. I-Communist Party yabe Congress ngoJuly, our 14th Congress. Zininganyana izinto esiyozixoxa la. How do we advance the struggle for socialism? But what are some of the immediate tasks? One of the things, Comrade Hope, which we know may be a sensitive matter, but we are going to discuss is this, that the mode of functioning of the alliance since 1994 is now outdated. We complain, the Communist Party, particularly Congress, we must come up with very concrete suggestions. Because we complain that we all go out to campaign, election. After election, bese kuhlala umeya nje yedwa lapha decide ukuthi uzodeploya kanjani. Or kuhlala iPWC ANC yodwa is decided ukuthi now ama decisions izinto zizokwenzeka kanje. No, that's outdated. We cannot accept that anymore as the alliance. That's the position of SACP. We cannot accept that ukuthi ama issues are crucial, ama policies, nama decisions at deployment. Athathe umuntu oyedwa kade sicampaigna sonke bona. It can't be. It's not sustainable. Part of driving the second, more radical phase of our revolution is to reconfigure the manner in which the alliance is functioning. Because we know now from our experiences what happens, for instance, if the ANC in a particular region is characterized by faction. We know what happens. Sasashawa ke nokushawa thina eMpumalanga amakomanisi sagijinyiswa nje nasentshango siyabulawa nangu soli bamkhomba ngesibhamu. What is all this? Now we must face, it's a difficult question, but we must debate it and come up with concrete things. We are also going to debate the matter of SACP, should it not be considering standing for elections directly itself? But that decision, if it gets taken at Congress, we will come back to the alliance. We're not going to impose it. And come back also to our sevens. What is your view about this? Because as Lenin said, you can't throw the vanguard party alone in a battle without the support of the class as a whole. These are not easy questions. These are not easy questions. They are very difficult questions. What does this require in the end? Comrades, we need to revitalize the working class movement in this country. Part of doing that, go reach out to other potentially progressive federations. But let's also reach out to all working class organizations and institutions. Wherever the working class is, let's enhance our organization. The working class is in the churches. The working class is in stockfields, is in burial societies, is in cooperatives. Let's go and mobilize there and give proper guidance so that we build as wide a range of a working class movement as possible, which must be located both inside and outside the ANC. That's the task, comrades. I guess he's working from yabasebenzi. Njengoba kusuka isithuthuthi nje vrum 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 vrum. Ninyakazi. Now siyanicongratulate ngoba siyanibona niqalile ninyakazi kwangempela. Uyazi Amos. Uyangimashela kwamina. That's fine. Umsebenzi we-working class, Lord. We must not be afraid to working class kumashele izongongozo emnyango ifuna higher education accessible. That's okay. We must do that because in the end, akuyona into kaNzimande lena. In the end, into yenu nabantwana benu. Ngalawo magama ungixolele sengithatha isikhathi eside uyongixolela sengofika ngifaka isikibha esibomvu next time uze ngibe mfishanyana ngoba ngiyabona leli shirt elimhlophe elingikhulumisa kakhulu njengoba izinto zingasahambeli nakahle nje kule insizwa. Amandla! My mother was a kitchen. Oh, my father was a garden. Oh, that's why I'm a communist.
live there from the SAPC's Gauteng Provincial Shop Stewards Council, hearing from Blade Nzimande talking about radical economic transformation, saying that some people want to use this policy to benefit only themselves, and he says that more discussions are needed on what exactly radical economic transformation means. He was also speaking about our electoral system, saying that communities need to be able to vote for individual MPs and that the current electoral system gives political parties too much power. He also spoke out against the Gupta family, saying that if allowed to continue, they will weaken the fight against monopoly capital. And he also spoke about the land issue, saying that it's not only a rural question, but it is an urban question. And he mentioned briefly the issue of free higher education, saying that he says the working class must participate, that it is not only a fight that the students should be involved in. All right, that briefing is still underway. We'll get more on that from our reporters who'll bring us exactly more details on that, on what came out of that briefing. Let's take a short break. Stay with us, more coming up just after this.